AUSTROFLAMM and Rika individuals out there. How you doing? Well, if you're here, your stove probably isn't running. So today we just upgraded your weekend to maintenance day, okay? This quick little short is to discuss a customer that called and was really kind of freaking out due to the fact that they came into their home from outside and their home was filled with smoke. So that's always an uncomfortable situation. Walk into your home and it's like an episode of Chicago Fire, you know what I'm saying? So anyhow, they pretty much monitored the stove and made sure that nothing was ablaze. And they immediately wrote us. They pretty much Googled AUSTROFLAMM help and bingo, Off-Grid Stoves and More of Texas pops up as your official AUSTROFLAMM and Rika representatives. So let's talk about the reasons why you would have smoke in your house. Okay, number one is a loss of power. The stove works off of a negative pressure. Now, I had a customer, he wanted to argue with me and tell me that a stove works under positive pressure, but the reason why it works under negative pressure is the vacuum of the stove, which draws fresh air into the air inlet on the back right-hand side of the stove, is drawn in by the combustion fan that's at the very end of the line for exhaust gases. So what it does is it draws air through the stove into the combustion fan, creating a negative pressure, which in turn, in a loss of power, what's going to happen? The pellets that are on fire in your burn pot, they're going to sit there and smolder, and your stove is not going to be drawing the smoke out. So you're going to have smoke coming out of your air wash system at the top of your doors. You're going to have it coming out of the fresh air inlet on the back of the stove because it's going to run through the fresh air chamber and out the intake pipe. It's going to actually leak out into your home through the hopper. Okay, the smoke's going to go up the auger shaft into the hopper, and it's going to come out from underneath the lid. All right, so, and one last thing, if you end up moving your stove or adjusting it in any way, if it's an insert or if it's a freestand and you just start shifting it around, you can start having a leak at the combustion fan adapter that connects up to the pellet vent. Okay, if you break that seal, which it has to be sealed due to the fact that you've got a lot of air pressure blowing into the chimney right there, and if that seal is broken in any way, it's just going to start leaking into the home. Number two, check your fuse. You could have had a weak fuse and it was just time to give up, and it'll shut the stove down, and all of the situations that I described in the way of smoke leaking is going to happen with a dead fuse, no power, okay? Number three is a faulty combustion fan. Obviously, if your combustion fan stops, whether it's a power outage or a blown fuse, and the negative pressure is decreased and it doesn't create enough negative pressure to draw the smoke out, it's going to leak into your home. A surge, okay, so if you're in during the cold parts of the winter and the power goes out, well, you understand that when they turn the power back on, you can actually have a surge of power that will blow the fuse, or worst case scenario, if you do have a surge, it can end up blowing your motherboard, okay? It can also blow your user board. So if that's the case, that's worst case scenario if one of those are blown or if both. So it could be due to a surge. If that's the situation to where, let's just say you take your motherboard off and your user board and you inspect the wafer board or the computer board without the cover, look for burn marks. A lot of times when they blow, it'll create, you know, a puff of smoke, and it'll leave a black trace on your board, which is pretty easy to see. But there are times to where it'll blow a component on the board and it'll look just fine. That situation, you're gonna have to send the boards to us to put on the test station, and we will make sure that everything is running properly. Check for melted wires, smell for burning wires, okay? Everybody understands the smell of a burning wire. Go up to the side of your stove or the back of your stove if it's a freestand and give it the sniff test. Smell wires? That's a bad thing. Start taking off your side panels, get in there and find out what's burning, what's been hot, before you even attempt to start that stove back up. Okay. Somebody opened the door. So we've had this situation happen before. A child ended up opening the door. He left it unlatched, and it pretty much killed the negative pressure, smoked into the home. No big deal. You know, it's just something that if you have kids and they're running around, something to consider. All of these things will result to smoke in the home, okay? The worst case scenario, though, is if your stove had a short or a dead short. And what a dead short is to where a bare wire literally grounds out on the body of the stove. Or an auger motor seizes and you go to turn it on. With that motor seized, it shorts out the fuse or the motherboard. So that's where you're going to end up wanting to hook like your auger motor to line power and make sure that it's operating properly. I really wouldn't advise you to start it until you either email us and allow us to help guide you into determining the problem, or find the problem and feel assured that, yes, this is the reason why the stove stopped, okay? You should always have a pack of 5 fuses, which we sell, I think, for $7. And you should have them on hand for the winter. Winter is always the time where fuses blow due to people running the stove, you know, on medium to high, nonstop from winter, or I should say fall, that first fall cold day, all the way to spring. I've got many of you out there, and that stove does not shut off until the weather says, you know what, time for flip-flops and tank tops. There you go. That is everything that's related to the stove smoking. So if you have any questions, email us at offgridstoves@gmail.com, and we will get back to you right away. I say right away, that's an hour or two. Or you can attempt to call us, and we're having a real hard time getting back to phone calls right now. We are manufacturing like crazy on our artistic heat shields. Our parts department's going nuts because I'm very proud of y'all out there. You're watching the videos and you're trying to make sure that you stay ahead of the game and swap out old parts and make sure that you have old leaky gaskets changed out and you're cleaning the stove, etc. Nice job. Okay, so you guys stay safe out there. If you need anything at all, AUSTROFLAMMParts.com or RikaParts.com. Stay safe out there. Peace. Looking for quality parts for the AUSTROFLAMM, Rika, Premio, Vizio, and more? Visit our new e-commerce site at AUSTROFLAMMParts.com or RikaParts.com. Thank you for your support.